you are in Nigeria, how available are these supplements? How available are they? And then is it a one size fits all? Because if we say how available, we start asking ourselves which ones are even available. So is it a one size fits all? What does your practice do? I would like to hear that. Thank you.
Right, lots of questions there. First of all, let me start by saying that yes, it's important to test. It's important to have the right kind of guidance, and it's possible. It's very important that you don't overdo things. And like Oge said, how long do you give? How much you give it for? Those are all very, very important questions, and unfortunately, there are not too many answers out there. So basically, what I will say is how we do it, either through the foundation or through the organization. And yes, we do try to address the underlying disorder. So I spend a lot of time just trying to understand the structural, biochemical, physiological processes, and I'm not going to bore you with all that are causing the stimming, causing the sleeplessness, the hyperactivity, the strange behaviors, the aggression, and just trying to see how we can address them as directly as possible so that the parents don't have to keep coming back. And fortunately, when one of my trips abroad, I got in touch with a lady, a warrior mom, who was also a lawyer, but who had also done a lot of research. And of all the things that I've done, I think what I learned from her, and of course I've had to do my own medical studies and all that, and I've added to it tremendously, was that the first thing you need to do, and everybody knows that the gut is almost always affected in autism, almost always. But what most people don't know how to do, unfortunately, is how to clear and how to reduce the problem in the gut. Because in my opinion, and I've been doing this for about 4 years now, in my opinion, if you don't effectively take care of the gut, you're just going to keep going round and round and round and round in circles. But if you do take care of the gut, and when I talk about the gut, I mean especially the digestive system, especially the colon and the small intestine. Once you take care of that, you find out that the field becomes clear or clearer for you to now address maybe digestive issues or sleep issues or hyperactivity issues. So Oge and Natalia, sorry if I Nancy. Okay, so you talked about the viruses, we talked about bacteria, we talked about and please, Daisy, you can stop me anytime and ask a question, interrupt. So I just want to make sure that I'm addressing your question. So if you feel I'm not, stop me and redirect me. So we know about different things, everything from bacteria, viruses. We even know about worms. Actually, we have actually had patients excrete worms who had autism. We know about heavy metals, we know about chemicals. We also know about that the immune system itself could be attacking your child's brain and attacking his gut. So one of the key things we learned how to do was to help the child push out the accumulated, festering, putrefying stuff that has been in his or her gut all these years. And that's what really happens. A lot of the time, these bacteria and the poop are stuck and they are constantly producing these toxins. And many of them are what are affecting the brain and affecting the cognition and affecting his mood and emotions and behaviors. So what we do is over a month's period, we find a way to get the child to begin to naturally push out all the stuff, well, not all, but as much as they possibly can, of all the poop that has been stuck there. And the truth is, most of them are constipated. Not all, but most of them are constipated. Even those who are not excreting or pushing out their stuff as effectively as they should. So that's our starting point, and we found it to be very, very effective. So we have nutraceuticals that affect specifically the viruses, nutraceuticals that affect the worms, nutraceuticals that affect the fungal infections, nutraceuticals that also deal with the heavy metals and the chemicals. So in one fell swoop, we're giving them like 5 or 6 for the first month, and we insist, part of the process is that this child has to be pooping twice a day. If he's pooping, she's pooping less than twice a day, you are not doing it right. And so it's we're on top of the parents throughout that time. So we do that after about a month to 6 weeks. Most times, I can say 90% of the time, the parents say, "Oh, he's now seeing clearer. He's acting clearer now. He's not screaming and shouting like he used to be. Screaming and shouting. He's even interested. He's now paying attention to his teacher. I mean, he's not. It's not like he starts reciting Shakespeare verses all of a sudden. No, we're not talking about that. But you see that there's a difference." And then based on the feedback from the parents, we now say, okay, this is the next step. Like for instance, if the child significantly has a digestive issue, he's eating stuff and you're seeing the stuff come out in the toilet, clearly he's deficient in enzymes. So we give them enzymes for that. But all of them, so it basically depends on what the parents complain about. Then we give them the appropriate nutraceuticals after we finish with the flush or the evacuation period for that month. And like I said, we found out to be very, very effective, but it has to be structured, it has to be guided. And then now do the other things. Probiotics, of course, are very, very important as well. I'll pause here.